us down. We need to keep the ACT scores as they are, push dual enrollment classes, and focus on getting EOC scores up. What does that mean? I think our administration has done a very good job in leading us in the right direction as far as EOC scores go. I had no idea before I came here that a fair didn't count against you. I was under the impression that a needs improvement counted against you, and everything else scored you points. So for 2 years, my class has been dragging us down because I had three or four fairs in each class, which isn't a failure, but it doesn't count for your scoring. And then when this last class that came through, I had 4 that needs improvement. And those are absolute zeros. A fair gets you to 0, but where we need to be across the board is at a good or an excellent. So I remember at the very beginning of the school year, in those first 4 or 5 days of in-service, we made a list of all the students in every class. And we went through and made an educated guess or made a prediction about where those students would be according to our opinion on the EOC. Y'all remember that list? Okay. When we made that list, we had some that we thought were top students. Well, top 1 or 2 of these classes, excellent. Most everybody else in the good or fair, and the bottom 1 or 2 students in every class that needs improvement. That's just the bell curve of life. What we need to focus on is those students that are at the fair and at the needs improvement. The needs improvement, I don't think we have many students throughout the school that are that bad on any test, in any subject. There are a couple, and I agree with you with this. With last year's freshman class and with this year's incoming freshman class, there's a few more than we've had in the past. But with Jumpstart, almost all of my classes have gone down in enrollment by about half with Jumpstart. So my senior, junior, and sophomore classes are the fair or the upper fair all the way to excellent students that we have left. Most of the needs improvement students have gone to Jumpstart and have gotten out of our core classes for the most part. I know it's not necessarily true for math because you need more math.
It will never be true for Algebra 1.
Right.
They're all required, no matter what their path.
Right.
Jumpstart or not.
You gotta have it. You gotta have it, right. And there's absolutely nothing we can do about that. We gotta teach them all. But I know in my classes, especially in this year's American History class, all of them are easily capable of a good. They're easily capable of good. The excellent, I have about 3 that are capable. I don't see anybody, but maybe 1 that would be in a needs improvement range. Maybe 1. That's what juniors, yeah. And I only have, 11 in there? 10 or 11 in that class. 1 would be down here. Everybody else is capable, in my opinion, capable of a good or above. You know, so what percentage are we talking about? We're talking about 92, 93% of that class being at a good or excellent. That's a big time improvement in what we have right now. Our average is a 57. That's a huge improvement. That would skyrocket if we did that across the board. I know it's not possible in every class, but if we did that across the board, that would impact our scores more than the graduation index or the ACT. ACT we know is not going to go up 10 points in a year. You know, not everybody's going to score 25, 26 across the board. That's not going to happen. So our EOC scores are the best bet to get our overall SBS score up. Implementation. Right? How do we get those kids that are in that needs improvement or fair range up? That is the biggest question. Because our EOC scores are what we need to focus on, students that we think need extra help to get to a score or to a good or above are who we need to focus on. That's who we got to get up. I know we've visited this topic several times. We've started to come up, and I've asked a few of you about a reward system for those students who do score a good or excellent. What do y'all think about that?
I think we talked about because we get EOC results pretty immediately.
3 days.
Yes, a few days.
waiving finals for kids who did good or excellent, right?
Yes.
Yes.
I think for good, I think you can waive the final in that class.
Right, and I also think we shouldn't let them know what they've got until they've taken all their EOCs.
Yes.
Because
Right.
they know,
Right.
It's only a 1 to 2
oh, it's only
day
one now
difference.
this,
If they're taking 2, they're
Right.
gonna take them within the same week,
Right.
so.
we just wait till the end of the week,
It'll
do them all.
hold those first scores a day or 2, and then they'll have the second score, so.
Because
that
they
should be
know
a
once
problem.
they pass one,
Yeah,
they're,
They
yeah,
don't have
they
to
don't
concentrate
care.
as hard on the other one.
They really don't care what it does to us.
Right. Humans being selfish, that's most people.
I don't know how much of a reward system that is, but I think not having to take a final.
I don't know, I presented it to, one of my classes, my geometry class, the 10th graders, and they lit up. When they heard that all they have to do is score, an excellent on any one of the EOCs, they
That
got
might be
really excited. So yeah, it is an incentive to be exempt from all exams, absolutely.
Now I think that's what we had determined for an excellent. If you make an excellent in anything, you're exempt from all finals.
But if you do it good, you're exempt from that final.
Just that
Yes.
class.
And I understand that.
Just that
And
class.
typically, the ones that score good are gonna be your A students anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
So, they know they would be exempt. But
And
to
it-
score that excellent and get all of them, yeah, that's a carrot. that
Yeah.
in front of them.
Oh yeah, that's a big one. And I agree. If you score excellent in any class, you paid attention, you did your work, you were in class, you were participating, you did a lot of work in order to receive all that information. The teacher did a good job and the student did a good job. You produced an excellent on the EOC, I think both sides really did a good job. They're also excited because we typically hold finals during the last school week, and they don't want to come to last week of school. I can't blame them. That week is usually pretty dead. There's not any teaching going on. It's just finals review, well, like finals in college. It's all during 1 week. It's all pretty intensive, and for some of them, you got past it. So if you're exempt from that, I think that's a pretty big incentive. Also, for a good, wanted to include a meal at the park. And then if you got an excellent, 2 meals at the park, which I talked to Ms. Donovan, she didn't really have a problem with that. She didn't have a problem adding that in. Well, high school kids love food of any kind. So if you give them a choice, if you give them a choice, I think that would feed into it a little bit more. Do you have any other ideas for a reward system? Because that's,
Yeah, I just want to know, like, I know the EOC is only for core subjects, like, I don't have EOC,
right.
but if I can be part of it, taking the test, I'm pretty sure a lot of them are going to do more effort than other things, like, finals of Spanish, like the whole semester, sometimes they don't even know 3 months ago, like, they explain, because it's a lot, I don't understand, it's a lot, the book is new, we're changing the system and stuff, it's a lot, and they're like, having a lot of issues with the new implementation of the new system that the school board gave us. Now, also, dual enrollment, they want me to take 6 classes for me to offer dual enrollment.
The AP portion.
No, AP already took that, like, the thing in Lafayette. But dual enrollment as well through Suela.
Oh, okay.
So they wanted to take 6 classes and then offer that here. I don't know how that works, it's like anybody who takes my class obtains also the credits for Suela, or it has to be like a special class for that. But if that helps the school for the grades and.
Yeah, it would.
So that's why they want me to take those classes and stuff. So now, a way to improve like the reward, I think we can, like when we cook Mexican food, we can do that for every student that we do Mexican.
Include them in that.
Like, we cook Mexican food for everybody, and we do it here, and we go out and eat, or I don't know.
Teachers too.
Yeah, the teachers too. Yeah, that can be a good idea.
Okay, yeah, I agree with you. I think if the more people that are on board with, the more people and more students, the more teachers that are on board with this, the better off all of our students will be. And ultimately, that's kind of what we want to do, and what this is going to do. But that's what we want to do at the very end of this, is we want to create a culture of excellence. The more you expect from your students, the better students they become. The children are especially young children, are capable of learning in virtually anything. You can teach a child to do anything. And the more we expect from them, and it starts with elementary, and it goes through middle school, and goes to high school, but if you keep the bar of education up here, across the board, and also, it's not just in the core 4 subjects, but in all of them, they're going to become better students. Yeah, I agree. We do need to find a way to include the non-core classes, art, Spanish, any dual enrollment class, that we can, in the way that we can. I know we can't impact the finals or anything like that, because it's a different school altogether. But the more we can include them, the better. I definitely agree. And I know they're included for the excellence, but maybe we could do something like, if you get a good, you can pick that class and maybe one auxiliary class, one non-core class. That might be something we can look at.
Yeah.
You know, and to me, that
Not
would
exempt for all, but having two is a
Having
big
two
deal.
of them.
Yeah.
to me, that would be a big incentive for me.
I get it.
Especially if I'm good in American history, and I'm not great in art. I suck at drawing. So I would be extremely excited to be able to be
Swap
exempt
it
from
off,
that
yeah.
one. You know, maybe not all of them, but the one I'm good at and the one I'm worst at. If I could be exempt from those two, I think that would be a big incentive, a really big incentive. I know some struggle in Chuck's class, so to be exempt from that final, I think would be a big deal. You know, so that's one way we could sweeten the deal a little bit. But moving forward, we need to make this kind of practice a yearly action, not just a one-time attempt. I know in my own class, getting students in RTI that need it the worst is a revolving problem. Because usually if a kid needs it in one class, he needs it in multiple classes. He or she needs it in multiple classes. And you really want to be as intense as possible, but then you have all these other distractions. You know, you have one kid who needs to take a test, one kid who needs to make up work. And then you need those 4 or 5. In my class, I think it's 5 kids that I think are capable of a good, but have traditionally made a fair or traditionally been just below the average. And to push those students, they need to be in my class at least 2 days a week during RTI. I know that's not always possible. But to the extent that it is possible, we need to get those kids in your RTI classes, in your EOC classes, and push them as much as possible with practice, EOC practice. For me, reading comprehension is something I push across the board, because it not only helps your class, but it helps Lawson's class. I'm not sure it helps your class that much, but to the extent possible. Teaching them how to narrow down their answers in multiple choice. In every multiple choice question, there's going to be 2 bonus answers and 2 possible. And the way the format is going with the PARC test, it's not always going to be, all 4 of the answers might be right. But using context clues, you can at least narrow it down. You know, it's designed to be a tougher test. Some of the PARC tests that are coming down the pipe. But if we can help give them hints, help give them clues to narrow down the answer, any advantage we can give them will help. Just like the ACT prep lady that comes in from Sylvan every year, does a pretty good job. I know it's kind of boring for the kids, spending here 2 or 3 hours with all them for a while. But she does help them. I think she's helped increase our scores over time on the ACT. If we can take that upon ourselves in every class, and that might be another way that y'all can help out in your non-core classes in just doing reading comprehension, making them write, making them make sense when they write. That's the biggest part of the freshman's problem that I find this year, is that they don't know how to write. Comprehend the question and answer the question fully explain it. I know that's the route Eureka Math is going. My son's in 1st grade. He's looking to, they're doing Eureka Math every day. And I don't always agree with the implementation of Eureka Math, but I understand how they're making them think fully about every question they're answering. Why does this and this equal this? And what are all the different ways you can get that sum of that sum? You know, so it's all about explaining how you answer the question. And the more they do that in every class, the better they'll be. The more they write in every class, the better they're going to be. And that feeds into the last slide.